I'm Major 7 with the New Old Heads, and this is episode 467, featuring guest DJ MetroGnome. This week we had discussions on 21 Savage dismissing the title of the greatest, the Section Music versus the Pillars debate, Touré also claiming that Nas picked bad beats on purpose, Nicki Minaj grifting towards MAGA Republicans, and more.
Support us and get the uncut 2-hour show by becoming a Patreon member for $5. We'll see you in the comments. Peace.
You are now tuned in to the New Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7. The brothers are in the building. Starting off with my man Jay Moore in his hockey attire. How are you, sir?
This is a throwback appropriate for the holiday season. So, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Man, I can't do anything with that. That's classic right there. Got legend in the building, my man DJ MetroGnome. How are you, good buddy? Good sir?
I'm doing well. I wore a hockey hat because I knew he would be wearing a hockey jersey.
So. You guys prep for this, or?
Absolutely not.
No, I just knew.
Yeah,
just
I mean, come on. Chances
I know
are,
this gentleman.
Chances are I'm going to have
you guys do a lot of things together, so I feel you.
We're at least once a week.
Yeah.
At
sure.
one of the watering holes here in the city.
Come on.
Shouts to watering holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, watering holes for
you
sure.
Get water there.
Good to see you, my friend. Glad you are back on the show, as always, man. Can't wait for your insight.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My man Lonegevity in the pilot seat with the little brother merch on. I see you, brother, and the beanie. What's up?
Oh, yeah. Howdy. Doing all right. Doing
okay,
great.
2 thumbs up. That works.
Thanks. Yeah.
My man DJ Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations.
Are you good?
I'm good. What about my outfit, man? You didn't say something about everybody's fit.
Here's what I like about this. The flannel works. They can't see the whole ensemble, but the t-shirt and the t-shirt underneath goes with the. They can't see all of it, but it works.
Yeah.
Expensive glasses. We see that. Like it works.
Hey, man, good insurance.
There you go.
We gonna call it that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Say less.
That's literally what it is.
Listen, I don't count people's pockets.
Yeah, man.
Contrary to what y'all say, I don't count people's
It's kind of
pockets.
what you do.
Yeah.
Not at all.
That's a defining characteristic.
Yeah, man. That's kind of your makeup, man.
Nah,
a little
not
bit.
at all.
A little bit.
I like to see people thrive in real life. For real. The death of the greatest? Question mark. All right. So follow me on this one. In a recent interview, 21 Savage suggested that technical rapping ability and being the greatest are secondary to being a successful version of himself.
Kendrick really loved to rap. I don't really give a fuck about rapping like that.
Oh, whoa.
Because Kendrick one of them rappers. Like goddamn.
Nigga, explain this to somebody in 300 years. He one of them rappers. Don't y'all all rap? Nah, I'm one of them like diet rappers.
He know how to say like different shit, like writing shit.
Kendrick is a rapper because he know how to say different shit and he know how to write. Dog, take me out this Twilight Zone. 21 Savage is dope to me. But to be impressed by these very bare basic requirements of songwriting, it's got me head scratching a little bit.
MCs. MC really can't lose. You can't lose if you an MC for real. But Drake an MC for real. But
Why that MC feel like a slur?
Goddamn make hits too. So it's different.
Yo, shout out to Curtis King.
Goddamn.
Oh man, this one I got a lot to say, but I'm going to defer to the panel tonight. But so I pose the question: can hip hop sustain itself as the world's most popular genre if its leading figures stop treating the rap part of their job with reverence? What do you guys think? Come on, Jay, give me something. Yeah, I'm gonna start with you this time.
Look, one of the most disappointing things about what 21 is saying, because I've enjoyed some of 21's music.
He's dead serious, by the way. You know that, right?
I know he's not playing.
Okay, I want to make sure you know he's dead serious.
But one of the most disappointing parts about what he's saying, it's almost like there's so many spitters and people who got something to say in the South, and I almost think like 21 Savage is an influential enough person within the culture, specifically within Atlanta culture, to where people will be like, yeah, I need to stop trying to be so intricate and intelligent, and I'm not even saying intelligent. I'm just saying wordy with my bars. Why would I want to do that? I want to be like 21 Savage. And I think it's kind of a sad thing because there's so many spitters in the South that, people don't pay attention to the way they should. And I think this is a prevailing mentality that kind of permeates through the music that, okay, yeah, you can be an MC over here, but I want my songs to play on the radio, in the strip club, wherever, at the barbecues. And I can't do it if I'm over here being a rapper, whatever that's supposed to mean. And MC is used as a slur. Where you say, can we maintain the culture just within this thing that is hip hop? If we have people who don't care about writing, who don't care about varying their subject matter, and I think we can't. We have to have people who carry the torch for the actual artistry of hip hop. We do, but you can't have statements like this out here from people who are as influential as 21 Savage, because we laugh at it, and of course the people within our sphere and the content creators. But there are some content creators I've seen G for this,
True.
and have the thing where they'd be like, no, I don't want to hear all that stuff about your mind state and the politics. I just want to shake a little ass.
I want to think.
Yeah. So I just think, but we can't maintain the culture. We can't maintain this thing that is hip hop if that becomes the prevailing thought and idea of how we maintain.
Jay Diff, what you think, bro?
I think the issue isn't necessarily the most popular artists in hip hop aren't being revered or recognized as far as hip hop is concerned. I feel like the tide is changing back to what the rap game originally was.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that aren't participating in the art form that way are being left behind. So they're scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, I'm not really a rapper. Like I don't rap like Kendrick. I don't be writing and stuff like that. I just go to the studio and say what I got to say, whatever's on my mind. They're not taking it as serious. And at one point in time, well, still generally, you can do that. You don't have to take it as serious anymore. People are looking at it as pretty much a come up. They're not looking at it as a love for the art form. So they get into it, and now their records aren't selling like they want them to sell, because that's what they're in it for anyway. They want their records to sell. They're not necessarily in the game in order to be talked about as the best rapper or care about if the source is out that they got 5 mics. They don't care nothing about that. All they care about is being heard on the radio, being hot socially, and people see that they got money. And that tide is turning. So they're starting to feel like they're being left behind. And that's one of the reasons that I feel like he's saying things like that, as far as I'm not a rapper like they really be rapping. I don't be rapping like that. I feel like he just feels like him and some of his peers are being left behind. And it's kind of like when we go down to Atlanta, he's talking about a lot of them. Cause I don't know if y'all have seen the unity that they've got going on now, trying to pretty much propel everybody up and let's get to the money.
Yeah.
But they don't care about who raps the best. They care about who's making the most money. And that's what's kind of, making an issue in the game and makes him say what he says.
I got you. Metronome, what you think, bro?
I think there's an interesting dichotomy because, for one, this is not even a surprising topic to me, because the music industry has been prioritizing the business over the art form for a long, long time.
Facts.
So that isn't even a current issue to me. But I don't know. Like, yes, we're seeing some real spitters get their due shine. Killer Mike, winning a Grammy,
yes.
Kendrick and all that. But in general, do you guys actually, there's two separate things happening. There's a couple elite people that are performing really well under these metrics. But in general, I don't really see some major change. I mean, you have, you can count the people on one hand that are like spitters that are doing really well. There's still a lot of like terrible music out there. And I also still have this theory that the less syllables you put in the bar per song, the better it will perform commercially. Like I still believe that to be true. I have literally no data. I've never run any examples on it.
I think you might be on to something low key.
Yeah, but it just feels like that's the case. So with 21, I'm not saying I dislike all of his music, but I also am not particularly in love with his music. He's got some joints, but at the same time, I think that the dichotomous part to me is the fact that didn't that just there's some data that came out. This is the first time that there's no hip hop in the top
we talked about that
40 or 100 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is just kind of an interesting like element of timing that this clip comes out when you're also seeing kind of a drop in that in terms of the cultural, quote unquote, cultural impact. I don't know. This doesn't seem to me to be like some terribly noteworthy news flash element.
I think for me it's the level of the artist that's saying it for me, because Jay Moore made a good point where he talks about how we might see it or how we might perceive it, but 21 Savage is somebody that has a huge following. I'm not saying he's the most popular or whatever, but he's out there, and I feel like he has the type. It's like NBA YoungBoy. NBA YoungBoy has a cult following that's going to follow him and live and die by whatever he says.
But choose the year. Choose the year. 2013, 2008, 1997. If you quizzed all of us in this room at any point in time, the worst rappers were the most popular.
That's
generally speaking, outside of maybe a Jay-Z. Like there's some, maybe a Kendrick. But like in general, and I know this is a DJ, the records we play in the clubs are the stupidest shit. But it's been like that forever.
First of all, you're right. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, as I get older, I understand what the power is that comes with these artists. And I'm talking about from
they do have big followings.
That's what I'm saying. Like they are very impactful, and the slightest things that they can say or that they say that are pushed, there's a huge impact that potentially will follow that. That's what I'm saying. So when I see him say something like that, it was so nonchalant. It's like, that's not what we're here for. Like, this is what we're here for.
But why is this a surprise? Listen to the music.
I'm not surprised. I'm just saying, I'm talking about the ramifications. I'm not talking about what he said. I'm not surprised by him saying that. His music says that. So I'm not surprised about that. I'm talking about what comes from it with the people that actually follow him. It's like, yo, we don't have to talk about shit. It's like 21 said that, so let's just figure out a way to get on and be popular. Like, that's the culture to me that we're in. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think there was something to what Terry said about there's a certain segment of artists who feels like they might be left behind if all of a sudden, because, if you see the success that, because say whatever you want about J. Cole, and we've had several conversations about him up here. J. Cole sells a lot of records.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick sells a lot of records.
He sure does.
They win awards. People were genuinely, you could talk about the rollout or whatever, but people were genuinely excited to get an album from the Clips this year.
Facts.
That's true. And here's, basically, I think Malice is in his 50s, and so here it is, you have, two dudes who've, started their career in the 90s, and, everybody in hip hop had to talk about this record, and there's not that same urgency with us to talk. We're talking about 21 Savage's statement. I'm not talking about his music.
Right, and he just dropped the album last week.
Yeah.
And Nas
made
made a good point. He talked about how, and this is how I feel like this is trending. Back in the day, hip hop never cared about charting and where they were seen in the billboards or Rolling Stone. All they cared about was that it was dope.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's getting back to that now, where like you can't just be rapping about any old thing and people are gonna give you your props, and people are kind of over that. It's like Kendrick said. I actually just watched a video from Screwface John talking about confirming how Kendrick was right. The party died, and they're trying to scramble to figure out what they need to do now because their genre of music is being pushed to the side because people are paying more attention to what put the culture on in the first place, which is bars and lyric.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like
Caring
exactly.
Caring about the music instead of like the end product.
Yeah.
Caring is big.
Right. So that's where we're getting back to, and artists like this are just trying to figure out a way and letting it be known, well, I ain't a rapper. So if you ain't trying to listen, if you're not trying to listen to a wordplay and you want to hear bars, don't come to Death Row, essentially, because I'm not giving you this. I'm about to just give you some bullshit party rap, and I'm gonna talk about the same thing But in the same token, I'm gonna say the streets is dead, but I'm gonna rap about the streets.
That part.
But art and commerce,
Big contradiction.
Yeah, art and commerce have always kind of had that tug of war. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they're diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I was trying to say is, sounds like I'm taking shots, but
no, you good, bro.
That's what
tell
we
the
do
truth.
here. We take shots. We tell these.
It's all right.
Sucks the time.
But it is true.
Go ahead.
I mean,
Jump
like
in, Lone.
if your goal is to make great product in the sense of a product that you can sell, that you can be successful at, as 21 is saying here, versus I'm just going to make some really good art.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
right.
True.
And,
Well, it's because it's hard to say I'm going to make art with. It's like, okay, what are the singles? You know, I mean, like that's not really that. There is a contradiction. Maybe not be the word, but I can't imagine someone just say, okay. When you think about, we're going to take it back to Nick's t-shirt here.
Yeah.
When you talk about when Motown was popping, Berry Gordy literally ran that company like, he was working in an auto plant.
Yeah. Ford factory.
There was at one point, the Temptations had been signed 2 or 3 years before My Girl hit, because it would go through the testing process. And then if the people and the pencil pushers and the people in the room didn't say it was a hit, it wasn't a hit. Now, is that how art should be done? No, but Berry Gordy was trying to make money. I think we're in a position now to where I'll give Nas some props here when you're talking about what was done this year.
Yeah.
With, putting out this, and on those projects actually came out.
Yeah,
which was crazy because, I think when we talked about it, I think there was a little bit, it was like, are we really going to get all this from these artists that we want to hear from? At least the people in this room were interested in hearing from these artists. And I don't think Nas was like, okay, we're going to try to get this Mobb Deep and this De La, so we're going to take it to the top of the charts and we're going to be on the radio. I don't think that was the goal. The goal was, let's make really dope hip hop.
Let's go back to the basics. We didn't care about artists.
Yeah, and I think it's sad that there are artists who aren't thinking, I'm going to make something dope. Because there are some artists who they just want to make something that's going to get them on TV and on the radio. And, they don't care
about the TV or the radio. They care about internet.
Or the internet.
Yeah, it's like
their version of the TV and radio, which is the internet and likes.
Yeah.
And,
algorithm.
Whatever's going to take care of that is good enough. And I think that's sadly where a lot of the quote unquote popular music is like, it's good enough.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I got to give Lone peas because he's consistent. We've all, as a show, we've talked about the lack of importance as it relates to art. Lone has always said that. And I'm talking about, we can go back and pull up the tape on episodes. It's literally what you've been saying, but now we get a chance to actually see it because you've always talked about the value of art and how it's being devalued.
Sure.
To me, this confirms everything that you've talked about because it's not about the art.
Well, this is even a step deeper because this is even less about the consumer. This is more so about the people making it.
The artists, the creatives, right?
I don't call them artists.
Oh, you don't.
You're not an artist to me if you're making product.
That's fair.
You're
a salesman.
You're just moonlighting as an artist or as a musician or whatever. Like if you come on here and you say, I'm not trying to rap well.
Yeah.
I don't care about being the greatest or rapping ability. I just want to be successful.
Yeah. That's what he said.
But your successful isn't in relation to the art that you're doing. It's in relation to how people see you and the amount of money that the viewership and the eyes on you creates for your pocket.
Yeah.
We're talking about two different things to Nick's point. Like it's two different, and to Terry's point. Like these are two different things. And this is why sometimes it can be kind of a contentious point to say, this is not art over here.
Yeah.
But if you're not making, like, it's one thing to make art and then it becomes successful because you're making art and people like it because it's art and you're being artful, artsy or whatever, right? And it's another thing to be like, I'm just going to take all these elements and I'm going to take all these, I'm going to find what works for all these people and I'm just going to
just do it.
And take up space. And I just don't.
I'm gonna put it back.
I can respect that.
I'm gonna put it back in the consumer's hands. I know we're talking about art, but
it's both.
It's definitely both. But when it comes to like the reason why they figured out this equation, well, like you said, back in the day, we've always had rappers that weren't the best rapper. but the cream always rises to the top, or it did at one point in time. And now what we have, the issue is they're making so much money being not the person that should be looked at as far as somebody carrying a torch for hip hop, so to speak. So regardless of how good they rap, people equate having money as success. So regardless of if Kendrick can rap better than 21 Savage, you have a group of people that are going to say, well, I feel like he got more money than him, although he doesn't. But like from surface, it looks like he has more money, so I'm rocking with him. Or he might have more followers than Kendrick on whatever. They're going by that metric versus the actual talent and art metric. So
damn, that's a good point.
That's I think is the difference now. Back in the day, you could have a couple songs that would get you hot, and that would be it. But you didn't get paid like they're getting paid now.
Well, the machine is different now. Well, the machine was always present. So when the machine decided, the industry decided that hip hop, they needed it to be this commercially viable thing, and they thought that they could exploit it. Then they pumped a lot of money and resources, and obviously radio played a big role, and then radio died. So and everything turned over to the internet. But I just think that the avenues that people are trying to figure out how to conquer. There's always people trying to figure out how to conquer the business.
True,
right?
true.
Like behind the scenes. I think that that's just a piece of the puzzle, too, because somebody's signing these people that don't give a shit. Like
because it's easy to sign a product.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Once again, what we see now is people are not being signed based on, oh wow, that person is really talented. Let me nurture their talent so I can have this art go out into the world. Right now, all they're trying to nurture are your metrics. You know, they're trying to see, okay, how many followers does this person have? How many YouTube views do they have on their own? Then we'll put some money behind it, and we can maybe exploit this person for 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe if we really get lucky. And then we'll throw them to the side and get the new one. Just like you do, once the lease is up on a car, get that car out of here.
I mean, that's what's interesting. And maybe I just, none of us lived during the Tamla era, right? During the Motown era. But like, I just can't help but assume that there's a difference between all of the musicians that were actually real musicians that were really making the music. I mean, it seems to be night and day between the roster of people that became Motown. Like every single person that made a record was borderline genius.
There's a level of gates too. Like even when you're talking about like Berry Gordy in a room and there's a bunch of people sitting around. Who are these people sitting around? Like, are they musicians? Are they like
Smokey Robinson?
Here you go.
Like who are the people that would be like, oh, that ain't it. That's not it. Like, what are the metrics there versus now you're in a room with a bunch of people smoking meth.
Not meth.
I'm watching Breaking Bad. I'm watching Breaking Bad.
We know where you were going though.
We know where you was going. Any good
Cooking
shit
meth,
smoking meth.
Not meth though, but we know where you.
That's gonna be a hit. I don't even know what it smoke. All right, let me. I don't watch enough to know.
Don't tell yourself.
I guess
now.
what I'm saying is like the judge and jury now is popularity.
Yeah,
right.
Yes, man.
It's like
they're bean counters. Like our hip hop is being run by accountants and assorted weirdos.
None of these people are, and I hate to.
But when it's based on followers, something that you and metrics of that nature, you can account for. But could you really do the same back then? I don't know. I mean, I guess radio, like you could to some degree, like who's listening to it, but
I think it's sad that the people that are the decision makers are not tapped in at all.
And that's what I'm saying.
They have no they have no feeling of the pulse of the culture other than what they do from a standpoint of numerical, like
business.
That part.
Yeah, exactly.
But as the actual culture, they're totally blind to that part.
It's all tech companies.
It's numeric. Everything's technical, AI, numeric, followers. That's it. And to me, that is a huge problem because these are the. I don't want to say gatekeep. We talked about the last week.
But it is a gate.
It's gatekeeping.
It's a gate of a way.
Like these are the people that are making the decision.
So like, let's reverse engineer this. And obviously, these could be isolated, right? Like this particular example. So I'm not saying it applies to everything.
Yeah.
But like, so Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist had a great project this year, right?
Sure
it
did.
Got a lot of love. It was part of the whole rollout. Well, let's jump back to when Pinata dropped, right?
Yes.
Somebody, i.e., probably Peanut Butter Wolf or somebody at Stone's Throw or somebody in one of those camps was like, let's get Freddie Gibbs with Madlib. That sounded like some real off the wall shit.
Like
it probably sounded like a bizarre idea that I don't think anybody would assume at that point that it would be as commercially viable as it was, but because they prioritized the art,
sure,
to Lone's point, and they prioritized the care and the intent was there, that is what eventually led to the following, the cult following, and the interest, which I can only assume is what eventually landed Freddie Gibbs with Alchemist.
I'm not gonna
years
hold,
later.
I'm not gonna hold you, Nick. When I initially heard about it, I said maybe. That's my initial reaction,
and that's my point. It's
maybe.
like it's but again, the taking those like having the artistic vision is just a very different.
Like, the way that they, to your point about the artistic standpoint, we're in an era now where the people that actually care, they're finding ways to be creative. If you look at that tour and you see him coming out in the jumpsuit and like you see the wax, and you see how they've marketed everything based off the short videos and the video that we did a review for one time. All of that stuff is intentional, but it's about the art and the music. A lot of this stuff is just, we're going to show up to the concert, we're going to turn up and we're going to leave. There's a difference in the way Freddie and the Alchemist and whoever their team is, they approach that. And that's why I think that's why it's received so well.
Right.
Because it feels
it's just
special.
respect. It's just respecting
It's
the art.
respect.
It's just respecting the art. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, I didn't think. I remember when Killer Mike and LP. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
But it's just, respect.
works.
Like you can have great marketing as somebody who respects the art. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, that, and
I'm with you.
And I think that's what it comes down to. And I think all of us sitting around this table and all of us that are, that if you're watching, it's really easy to spot. You can tell, like if you've been around long enough, those that respect the art of it and those that are just in it just to essentially moonlight in it.
Bro, the difference is artists take chances and people that are just rapping are just rapping. They're not going to take a chance. They're not going to come up with a concept and write an album based around that concept. It's that I'm going to rap how I feel today and I'm going to put it out. I'm going to get the hottest producer in my region to help me curate this sound, and we're going to keep following that. And that's exactly what the issue is.
You are now listening to the New Old Heads podcast. Our official 1-hour episode is released every Saturday at noon Eastern, but we share the exclusive uncut 2-hour episode to our Patreon members early every Wednesday. The show is brought to you by Coleman Dental, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Bringing Down the Band, and most importantly, you. Support the show directly by becoming a member at patreon.com/newoldheads, where we embrace the new, respect the old, and remain ahead.
Did Nas pick bad beats on purpose? So Touré revealed a conversation where he confronted Nas about his beat selection.
I wrote Nas's autobiography, which will never come out, but I spent a lot of time with him. And one day I said to him, you know what people's biggest critique of you is? He said, I know. It's that I pick a lot of whack beats. He understands that. And what he's doing is he's like, if I pick the dopest beats, it would be too easy for me. So I need to challenge myself. I would rather take a mid beat and elevate it than just sit on a dope beat and kill it. He's like, that's too easy for me. So, the what you see, he probably understands what you're saying, but it's like, Premier is probably like, here's my top shit. And he's like, I don't want your top shit. I want to elevate your secondary shit. And like,
come on.
Okay. Fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's what he chose. So I wouldn't even put it on Primo. I put it on
I ain't
Nas.
going.
No, I think that's always some bullshit.
Not going. Because you have to understand that Primo's reputation is on the line as well. So you can't just say.
Long cap.
You can't just say.
Hey, put on 2 cap. Here's a
He
3rd
put
cap.
on 2 cap. That's 3 caps.
He has on 4. He has on 4 caps.
There's triple caps
There's
and
4 caps.
and a beanie.
Come on, man.
You can't just lean on Nas likes to rap over whack beats because he's had good beat selections. Even when you talk about the beats that he's gotten
He
from
started
Premier
with
in the
Illmatic.
past.
He started with Primo, Pete Rock.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Q-Tip,
That doesn't make any
LES.
sense.
Like, come on. That's nah.
I ain't going for that, man. It's almost like we're trying to give.
Yep.
We're trying to give Primo
The benefit of the doubt?
The benefit of the doubt or grace, so to speak, based on what was selected for this last project. And I still stand on it. It's a good project, but it's not great. There's not a great track on this album when it comes to the beat uplifting the lyrics. There's not one great one.
I think there's 3 or 4, but
there's not.
It's
in
some
my
great
personal opinion.
It's a handful.
There's some good records on it. But when we talk about the primo beats that Nas has gotten in the past,
sure,
that are great, none of these beats compare to that. You know what I'm saying? The lyrics are on that same path. Even if we talk about Pause tapes, the concept of that record, it fits. Okay, I'm gonna give you a bare basic loop. I think that's the only song that gets a pass as far as being basic, because that's what it was supposed to talk about. Other than that, I'm not giving him that. I'm not doing it.
Jump in, Nick.
I just happened to randomly rewatch the old Q-Tip joint with Nori, Drink Champs. And it's an old video, but Q-Tip is talking about the first time that Large Professor brought Nas around, and about how he was deliberately not trying to, like, it was kind of wild in New York back then, so didn't want to have him getting caught up with the wrong people, so they were trying to kind of protect him a little bit. Anyways, they linked him up with a Q-Tip, and I think it was One Love was the first joint that, like, literally the first song he played, he was like, that's it, next day One Love is completed. He wrote the record in a day. But yeah, this is cap, man. It's like he actually has a lot of good records with a lot of good beats. He just happens to also have a lot of mid kind of sprinkled in. I don't think, sometimes I think people are a little bit too critical of him. Like there's this whole Nas bad beat narrative that people kind of latch on a little bit too heavily, in my opinion. But
especially after the Hit Boy era, I mean, all that stuff was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was super heavy on that for a long time, but then the Hit Boy stuff came out, and he dropped like 5-6 albums, and I liked almost all the beats. So it's kind of like, all right,
Well, that and if you want me to believe that, then an album that I just don't think is talked about is Life Is Good.
Yeah,
and
it's a great album.
That record had plenty of good. If he'd have put a whole album out with Summer on Smash, that song stands out because I hate it.
I hate that record so much.
And it's easily the worst song on the album. It's the worst production. And
it's the worst verses too, though.
Yeah.
So like,
it's like
so overrated.
Come on, Nick. Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure he thought that was going to be, Swizz gave me a home run.
It was called Summer on Smash.
Yeah, and it was. It did not. The summer was not on Smash. Not with that record.
That beat was trash.
And so,
was that the one where it's just like repeating Summer on Smash, Summer? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's severely overrated.
And it's one of those songs that, when people say, "Oh, it's got to grow on you." No, it doesn't. That song, I hated immediately. I haven't listened to it since that album came out. I just think that when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm just trying to elevate these beats with my lyrics," I was like, "Dog, don't do that for us. Just go, if you go ahead and pick the good beat and rap well over the good beat."
Yeah. The other reason, so when I kind of got hip to this conversation, what it drew me back to was initially the rapper Ka. Are you guys familiar with Ka from?
Yeah, we talked about him.
So
on the
Ka
show.
and Rock Marcy. Now I think, took a particular approach where maybe you could make this argument, but it was with
minimalist.
It was minimalist and it was with intent. So somebody could say, "Oh, these quote unquote beats, which typically have no drums and things like that, like those are kind of whack." But the point was to hear the lyrics. So like if this argument was applied to that, I would actually say, okay, this is actually logical.
The problem that I have with this is somebody who likes production and listens to that first, is the bad beats distract me from what Nas is saying.
Facts. Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah, it's a bad take.
But once again, I don't think this is true. Like, I just think he's heard the criticism and he's tried to retcon.
It was before that, though.
It was before this last album. Oh no, we've been talking about this, and I think whenever Touré might have asked him about this, I was like, "No, you picked those beats, son. You thought maybe they sounded good in the studio, and I don't know. I mean, like I said, But then again, the things that people say are bad beats, it may not just been like there was some. What was that? The double album he put out. There was some
Streets Disciple.
You know, but at the same time, Thief's theme was on that. You knew that was dope when you heard it.
Mhm.
You know, but then there was stuff on God's. I love Godson though.
Me too.
I'm one of those people. I wasn't a huge Stillmatic fan. I think Godson is a better record.
I thought Stillmatic was fire.
Stillmatic's better to me.
I
but-
didn't like Stillmatic.
Stillmatic had stuff like Braveheart Party and Rule on it. I hated those
But
records.
it also
Jungle
has
was all over that,
Don't
wasn't
do that. Don't do that.
He loved Jungle.
He loved Jungle. Don't do that.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Inside joke.
but like I said, Nas, you picked these beats, dog. I mean, and it is what it is. Everything, you know, so they all can't be winners.
I think another important kind of piece of the argument is what role does the record play, right? Like, so a beat on its own, maybe listening to it in the studio is one thing, but a finished song in a particular order to create a particular, you know, like I think that maybe it could be a mid beat, but if it tells a particular part of the
Sure.
story, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
But-
absolutely. Yeah.
And then the same token, don't lean on I pick bad beats because of what everybody else says. I think that's what he's leaning on.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
says that
for
I
sure.
pick bad beats. Nas only has one album that I don't rock with as a whole, and that's Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I don't really like from front to back like that. But every one of them has songs that aren't good necessarily,
Right.
but as a body of work, it still sounds good. So like, you can't lean on I'm letting my voice be the song and I'm picking whack beats, because nobody's picking whack beats just to be picking whack beats, man.
And
That
that's
just
wh-
doesn't even sound right.
and that's why I think it's cap.
And
Yeah.
what do you?
Yeah,
How do
I
the
mean-
beat makers feel when you say, "Yeah, I picked this whack beat"?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you can
Yeah.
hear my raps.
Yeah, I mean, I cringe anytime I'll send a bunch of beats to people and they pick like a one that's like, man, I didn't think they were gonna pick that one. Ugh. But I think
Yuck.
but I was like, man, why'd I do that? But at the same time, you know, it's like for all the producers out there that may understand this,
Talk to
it's
'em.
like a beat battle beat. Just because a beat battle beat is so amazing doesn't mean that that's going to turn into a good song.
Right.
Because there's so much going on,
Mhm.
and it's so from that perspective, I understand where Nas could be coming from, where he's like, yeah, I don't want the beat doing all this crazy stuff. Like maybe he would pass on Rock Cocaine Flow, you know, like maybe he would pass on something like that.
Right.
But at the same time, like, we're not saying like you need these extravagant beats. We're just saying like, we don't need these Casio strings chopped up. Give us more Nas's like, give us more Illmatic, give us more Hit Boy, things of that nature. There's a big difference between like,
Yeah.
kind of like what he's saying. And I think to your guys' point, I think he's heard it so often. I think to Jay's point, I think he just came up with something and was just like, yeah, I did it on,
He's
okay.
just leaning into it.
Okay, man.
Yeah, I'm not going on this one
Not going.
because I know better. I know Nas. I know he knows better. But this concept that he's talking about, nah, I don't buy this. There's no way he's gonna sit down and be like, yeah, don't give me those. Give me those.
And
I don't
I
believe
give
that.
it to them too. Culture United, everybody in that video, I want to say, gave this album very good ratings as far as their first listen and how they liked it and enjoyed it. And the reasoning behind what they said and why they enjoyed it makes sense. But at the end of the day, I would rather hear the best Primo has to give over Nas lyrics and go from there. I'm not giving anything P's just because it's a nod to old school hip hop or a different era, different. You know what I'm saying? It should have still, in my personal opinion, evolved. Even if you're considering this album as a prequel to what Illmatic gave. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing is, I've never been distracted when Nas gets a beat that's 10 out of 10, right? From his lyrics. I've never been like, oh, this beat is so overwhelming. I have no idea what Nas is even talking about. That's not how it worked.
Yeah, the New York State of Mind Part 2
Fire
is a loop, but it was amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when you talk about New York or New York State of Mind Part 3,
Ew.
it does not give me that that same energy. You know
not
what I'm
even,
saying?
but not even close.
It's
though.
not even close, man. So
It's not even close.
you cannot tell me that based on what you heard on that album, you was just okay with it because of who it is. I'm just not. No. I hope they follow it up with a part 2 that is supposed to be the, you know what I'm saying, after the before type thing, because they were saying that in that interview they were saying that some of the sounds sounded like it was like leading up to Illmatic, I believe.
Okay.
So like even like the Pause tapes is supposed to be a prequel to
the Genesis
Live at the barbecue type of thing.
I will say, and this is just a salute to hip hop and I guess uncharted territory. Primo's almost 60.
Yep.
Yes.
He's almost 60 years old. Nas is
at least 50.
He's about 50 or
early
low
50s.
Like what? I mean, what they're doing is still pretty cool.
No,
Hell
it is.
yeah.
So, you know, just want to.
All things considered.
Yeah.
But when we talk about this the whole ageism situation.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
I get it.
Like,
but I'm going to. So Miles Davis and Quincy Jones and when we talk about artists, now we'll put Primo in the same category as an artist. Some of them gave their best work when they were in their 60s. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know.
I don't know who you're talking about, but it wasn't Miles Davis.
Well, he was close.
Probably wasn't Herbie Hancock either.
Don't do that, Long. Don't do that.
But while we're talking about beats,
Quincy Jones.
I gotta find out.
He did.
What do you think about the song Dr. Knockboot?
Terrible.
Boom, 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 boom.
Well, no. So I actually,
Because I love the record, but I know how Sean feels about it. So
I know Sean.
get a tiebreaker.
I know Sean hates it. I actually like the record, but the caveat is that not my introduction to the song, but when the song came out, I saw Rob Swift do this crazy ass juggle with it. So like I associate that song with what he did with it, and to me it still stands as interesting because of that. But I understand that Sean hates the record.
I mean, it came on like right before Nas's Like, right? It was like
Yeah,
track
for
10,
sure.
and it's like you got Nas's Like with
It's the
Primo,
B-side of Nas is like.
and then Dr. Not Boot, which sounds like like it could be like a commercial for like a pharmaceutical drug.
That's pretty much what it was.
If you're
Yeah.
having- that's what I mean. It's just like
I don't think it's a
Yeah,
great beat
Valtrex.
for the record. I don't think it's a great
this
beat.
again. It kind of goes to this project. I feel like the song in general is okay,
Yeah.
but the beat
But the beat
is
itself,
kind of
yeah.
like.
I agree with that.
What was it? What made you? What Flex say? What made you go with that line? What made you go with that beat?
Yeah.
It's kind of what I think. Nicki Minaj calls JD Vance the assassin on stage with Charlie Kirk's widow Erica, then goes silent. I'm sure you guys have seen the latest piece of Nicki Minaj vouching for
MAGA.
100%. Yeah.
white. What's Jay always say? White.
White.
White approval.
White approval.
White
Essentially,
approval. There it
is
is.
what it feels like.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you guys have any comments on what you saw?
Nick and I are in the clubs in various places, and Nicki's music has been ice cold for a minute. You know, even when she had that supposedly #1 song with the Rick James sample, I remember I kind of surveyed some DJs. I was like, "Are any of you playing this?" And the answer was no. You know, there's this. I think this is part of a thing to stay relevant in the news cycle. I also think it's puzzling because where her music does do well is still amongst the gay community, and everything that happens at Turning Point is so diametrically opposed to anything that has to do with our friends in the alphabet community.
Somebody doesn't know how to read the room.
Yeah, and so I thought this was a puzzling, you know, for those of you who do wrestling, heel turn, even though like some people would say she's been a heel this entire time.
Because she's also been pretty. I guess the other piece that you're speaking on is she's been pretty like anti-trans with her statements, right? Is that kind of what I haven't been following her very closely.
It's some of that, and then all of a sudden she's so concerned about Christian persecution, rather, in parts of Africa, which is okay.
She's also not a U.S. citizen.
There you go.
Oh, come on, Nick. Come on.
So given what's going on with ICE, I don't know the full story with Nicki. I'm not a stan. I'm not a Barb. Apparently, right? Her not being a U.S. citizen, there, and maybe is it her husband or family member or some
yeah,
other
her husband got a lot of stuff
going on.
Her husband's on one of those lists to where like he can't be near
her brother
schools.
her brother's locked up.
Yeah, her brother and her.
So this might be a pardoning issue.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, but those are state situations, so there's only so much. Even if she cozies up with MAGA, that Donald Trump could do.
What are rules right
well,
now?
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
We've seen that firsthand.
I mean, the thing that comes to mind for me is everything that you all have said, but also who are we putting stock in? Like some of these people, like some of the artists that everybody's got a right to say what they want, but there's so many people that are putting stock into what the rappers say, or people are choosing rappers to come up and be on the stage. And I'm like, who are we really putting our stock into as it relates to their comments and that we're taking seriously on a day-to-day basis?
That comes from politicians that don't know what's really going on.
That's
out
fair.
Here.
That's
and
fair.
then these artists whose careers are tanking generally choose that route to align themselves with that. So we've seen the same thing happen with Amber Rose, Lil Pump.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Chrisette Michelle performed at an inauguration, and she hasn't been the same since as far as popularity wise.
Facts.
Nicki's star is falling from the sky. There are people like Cardi and Glorilla and Lotto,
Megan
that are taking her spot.
Doechii.
Nicki needs a way out. And to Nick's point, she is not a U.S. citizen. She's leaning on Christianity and how they're being persecuted over in Nigeria.
Which is a pivot.
Yes. She's standing with Israel because that aligns her with the Charlie Kirk folks or whatnot. But for her to have that, the assassin slip was crazy.
Yeah. Hold on. So what did she say? What happened?
So she's describing her
love for JD Vance.
Yeah.
Well, first she started out, this is what was real stupid. She started out gloating on Trump, talking about our handsome, dashing President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And then she went into, and JD Vance, the assassin.
Wow.
Mind you, this woman just had a husband that was assassinated.
Come on.
That is
He wasn't
insane.
assassinated. He was just shot.
Well,
But
you
come
can say
on,
what you
Terry.
want. I mean, either
Come
way, he was
Well,
shot.
he died.
Yeah. Getting shot is being assassinated at the
Come
end of the
on.
day.
They assassinate presidents and people
Well,
who are
he's
actually
not,
doing
he's
things.
not MLK. Let's just make that.
Let's chill on the whole.
Let's get that out.
But
Yeah,
he
JFK was assassinated.
He
Say
was,
it, Long.
he was definitely assassinated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Potato,
was assassinated.
I mean,
And what's crazy for her to say that JD Vance is the assassin, because they've been aligning her with JD Vance, not Nicki Minaj, but what's her name?
Erica Kirk.
Erica Kirk. And so for JD Vance to be the assassin,
That's wild.
that
I
took
didn't-
him out
I
type
didn't-
shit.
I
You
didn't
know what
see
I'm
that
saying?
clip.
she
That's
also
wild.
said, for boys be boys.
Boys be boys.
There's nothing wrong with being a boy.
That's where she had to go after that, because it was like definitely like a moment of like, oh damn, did I say that?
This is in a way where I will shoot Nicki a little bit of bail, which she does not deserve. It's like,
Why you shooting it then?
because, this comes from a place of hurt, I'm convinced. Between the things that are happening with her family, where she's, her brother's locked up, whatever about her husband. I don't want to go too much into that because I don't want this video demonetized. And
we
then,
know
her father, her losing her father a few years ago. But also, I've said this on the show before, Nicki has done everything that the white folks and the ivory towers in the music industry have asked her to do, and they can't find a way to slip her one Grammy. They've given every other girl a Grammy. They gave Doechii got a Grammy. She don't barely have an album out.
She did.
Meg got like 3. They gave Doja Cat. Cardi got 1. And I think a lot of this comes from that place. I rapped about Bud Light. I did all this EDM stuff. I made the funny faces. I got the plastic surgery. And y'all can't throw me. Y'all could have gave me Grammy of, best rap song we won't care about in 6 months. And she'd have been happy to get it.
Focus on the wrong thing.
And but because you see these signs of desperation when she jumped out and immediately did a song with Snitch 9 because he had the metrics to think, okay, that's going to be a #1 song. These come from, I think, a level of frustration with the power brokers in the music industry. She's like, okay, well, if dealing with these white folks on this side is not going to help me, well, let me jump all the way over here. I think this is not, maybe these are real feelings for her. Maybe she wants to be, maybe she's a part of the far right, but I think part of it is like, you see Rock Nation and she has this thing with Jay-Z, even though Jay-Z, showed her love, in the beginning of her situation. I think this comes from a place of hurt, and I think it's the same thing with a lot of these
Grifters.
Black conservatives who move into the grifter space. When you see with how the story ends, you see, Stacey Dash is doing OnlyFans now. They're gonna cast you aside.
Is she busting it open on OnlyFans?
I mean, yeah, if you got a credit card.
Well, shit.
But got a little excited there, didn't you?
But no, I didn't. That's just interesting to hear.
Oh,
yeah, but I'm just saying, this is not how you really write. When have we seen anything from Amber Rose since she decided to speak at the Republican National Convention? Like, they will cast you out when they are done with you, and I don't want to. Part of me doesn't care because of what she's done here, and she's definitely made her choice. But this is a scary game to play because you might have came to turning point this year, but you saw there was a whole bunch of people who were not white who tried to get into some turning point situations. Like, what's his name? I don't even want to call him Myron Gaines. He's one of those
and a fresh and fit guy.
Yeah, that's not his real name.
I didn't know that.
Oh no, he decided because he's his parents were immigrants. Shout out to the immigrant story. But he came over here and decided to just take him a slave name. He didn't even care. Like,
take him a slave
name. That's crazy.
Without even having to go through the blood, sweat, and tears of it all. But when it was time for them to go upstairs and he had on his very Nazi-ish shirt, that wasn't enough for those people. And so once again, they only have so much use for you. Do not be used in this way. If you really mean it, okay, there are probably platforms for you, but you are going to look. First of all, I saw this today. There is a video of Charlie Kirk saying Nicki Minaj is a poor role model.
Yeah, I seen that.
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on, I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't.
These people will turn on you quickly once you are of no use to them.
Smells like it's inauthentic.
But you know what? I'll say this. They'll do the same thing on the left.
Yeah, they will
do
the
cast
same
you
thing
aside once you are of no use.
Well, you see what they doing to Candace Owens.
Well, Candace Owens don't rock. Like, there is a schism in parts of that side of the right because some of them are like, why are we giving this money to Israel? They don't. The old guard, they are all about Israel. The younger conservatives, they're not trying to hear all that.
Yeah.
So there's some infighting there, and but the whole Nicki Minaj thing is just weird. The
whole thing with them is weird altogether. Like, and it's like when these celebrities need somebody to go to, because Russell Brand is another one of the celebrities that has gotten in trouble and has leaned on MAGA in order to kind of.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, clean up the situation. It is. It's like that's who they run to because it's almost like they need these popular influencers and celebrities to be on their side, so they're welcoming them in order to, you know what I'm saying?
It's a cult.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is, and they're running with it, man. And it's like, I don't know, this whole Nicki situation is just something I didn't expect.
It's a pivot to me.
It's another level of a low. Like it's to have to go that far is it's sad, really. Unless, to Jay's point, this is how she always has felt.
Oh.
I'm with Terry. I think the star falling. I ain't gonna hold you.
No, the star is definitely.
I think
falling.
it is rapidly. It is falling.
Like that. It's a thing where we've talked about before about how hard it is for female MCs to grow up. The way we met you, that's what we expect from you the rest of your career. And remember in the movie The Dark Knight when they showed Batman showed him, we saw Bane fighting.
Yeah.
And he said, look at the ferocity, look at the speed. It's like when you are an older female rapper and you're trying to keep up and rap and shake ass the same way a 23-year-old is, it's hard. You know, if you haven't already transitioned into more thoughtful and adult content. Not adult, that sounds crazy to say adult content, but but more
grown up
topics, more, you know, like,
yeah.
You know, if you're still knocking on 40, talking about bags and shoes and what you can get out of men, it's like, all right, you know, good luck with that. You know, it just doesn't, you know, when Lotto does it, I was like, all right, well, that's what girls her age do. You know, when you're talking about that, when you 38, 39, 40 years old, it's like, yeah, shouldn't you have moved past this? And it's messed up because even on the other side, that's why I think Lauryn Hill kind of painted herself into a corner because like we look to her as this, you know,
savior.
Yeah, almost this savior of the, you know, whatever we should think of women. And that's too much pressure to put on somebody to think they can come up with that kind of thing every 2 or 3 years.
Well, there's still the ageism. There's still the machine. There's still, I mean, there's so many layers to this, you know, that, you know, no single person is going to overcome all of these industry obstacles.
No, but I think we just talked about Nas and Jay-Z and these artists who came out on Mass Appeal.
For sure.
You know, De La Soul, you know, they get to grow up.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing I hate so much for female MCs. We just don't let them grow up.
Yeah.
Well, that's the lane they chose, though.
It's what comes
down to.
It's the patriarchy, though.
Yeah, it comes down to
that's what the marketplace will accept. We won't accept grown women actually trying to rap. Unfortunately,
well, I mean, I don't know. We have Rhapsody out there. We have
she's super grown.
I know.
Jean Grey. We have,
grown.
But you're talking about with these women start off with a mainstream look. You know, as much as we love Rhapsody in this room, as much as there are people.
Like, where do they go from there?
Yeah, we don't even know who. There are people who are listening to us right now. They're like, what are you talking about the X-Men for?
Well, whose fault is that, though?
That's the mark.
I mean, because honestly, when you think about the path that these artists or rappers chose, and they're pigeonholed into a certain type of content, whose fault is that?
I think it's multiple layered. I think you can place a little bit of self-blame because people are, to our previous conversations, you're chasing something from a product perspective as opposed to an artistic. But at the same time, we can't like completely remove the patriarchy.
No, you can't.
Like, we can't remove the fact that women have to exist in a male dominated space, and especially in hip hop where it's, you know, you have to do one thing or we'll just ignore you type thing.
There's an artist by the name of Queen Latifah that made a very successful career out of doing exactly what she wanted to do and pivoted where she wanted to go.
I think she's a one-off, though. I think Queen is a one-off.
Even when you talk about Queen Latifah, she pivoted away from rap. You know, at one point she put out the Dana Owens. She put out a jazz album. Mm-hmm. Then she's more known. Some people don't even know that Queen Latifah is a rapper.
Yeah,
they
but
know
she ain't
her,
busted open though.
Well, that's true. But
she
at
didn't
the same,
pivot that far off the.
But at the same time, it's like her. At a certain point, it's like, okay, as if I want to remain in the entertainment space, I have to pivot into this acting thing or singing or, you know,
which
doing
she
whatever.
Did well.
And she did it very well. But when we think about someone like MC Lyte, who actually put out
done
music,
the same,
but you know, a lot of people, we know her voice from the voiceovers. We know
she does
her acting roles. You know, we know her as a legacy artist.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like there's so many examples. Like at a certain age, it's almost like running backs in the NFL. It's like at a certain age, they're not checking for you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is radio. Because you have Moni Love went to radio. You got Roxanne Shante
all
went to
transitioning
radio.
into something away from actually making records.
Heather B.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's like we have a value on them.
They're not making those records 40 plus.
But after a certain point, it's like, okay, you better transition into something else, or you're done out here.
Right.
No, that's real. We gotta protect Heather B at all costs, man. I love Heather B, man. We gotta protect Heather B. Nah,
3D Nate T is another dope artist
dope.
That does not lean into that.
Facts.
And if you see her and never heard her rhyme, you could probably think that she's one of those type of artists, but she's not.
If she chose to pivot, she could pivot. But she chose to stay in the lane. I respect that.
If that's what she was about, but she's staying true to who she is.
That part, yeah. No, that's real. That's real. No, I just think this whole thing is I just think it's a pivot, and we'll see how the play works. Is where I'm at.
I just think it's sad. I think it's sad.
I'm not mad at you. Yeah, I'm not mad at you at all.
It's like,
I'm not mad.
But for some people, it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ultra right, or you know what, I'm gonna become a born again Christian, or I'm gonna, like, people have these pivots in their career, and maybe that's what like at one point Kanye West was super religious, and we need to stop having all this porn and this, that, and then like he's just back to being wacky Kanye.
True.
With the Black Klan robe on.
True.
And dating a woman that doesn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
True.
open.
Yeah, there's a couple different
Married
times
to.
of Christianity now. So like, if you're leaning to that far right, because they love to say far left on everything, but there's definitely a far right when it comes to politics.
Yeah, those aren't Christians. Those are just special interest whites.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's get ready to close this out. I know we on a
That was a very Jay Moore thing to say.
100%. 100%. NewOldHeads.com for all the education you need this year. If you see it, like it, subscribe, hit the bell, 5-star ratings, any notifications that you need. Don't forget to check out our Patreon where you can get unedited full episodes. We appreciate your support, and we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Stop mocking my hands, bro. I saw you. Stop doing that. That's